Well, we are back on the ground in Yugoslavia, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been an interesting 2 turns. Now, we have managed to take quite a few actual towns and villages here. No major cities yet, but we're getting very, very close to Dakovica, and I think this is hopefully going to be the next push we make. In fact, I'm going to be moving with just a single unit if I can there, an actual engineer group, and you can see that the Serb planes are still on the attack. Now, a few people were asking, why is it that Serbs have all of this hardware, all of this equipment? Well, you've got to keep in mind this is an alternative history scenario, so while NATO did actually bomb Serb targets in 1999, this is a little bit different. In this particular scenario, the Russians have been supplying the Serbs with a bunch of different weapons, and we're actually at war with them in this particular scenario. So let's go ahead and just advance. We've got actually special forces here. We moved them all the way up to the front line. Actually, that's the special forces unit, MEU. And what I'd like to do is try and hit the enemy over here in the rear. They do have quite a lot of anti-tank units, and obviously we've got a lot of tanks on the field. So it would help us out to get rid of those things. The other option is to get rid of all of this assisting infantry. But I think it would be a lot easier to actually just push through to Dakovica, and the only way we're going to do that is to hit that anti-tank group. I'll also try to get some of these Kosovo rebels that are helping us to join the attack. So let's make it happen, folks, and let's see how it goes. A lot of Serb defenses here. It's obviously going to come down to not just the men on the field, but the amount of air support that we lend over to this attack. And it looks like right now the chances for success are excellent. I hope that that's correct, but again, you can't always trust the battle resolution thing. And the other issue is we've lost a few aircraft in the last few turns because of attacks on areas with, of course, man-pads and AA defenses. So I'm thinking right now, maybe we'll give the air units a rest and just let our men deal with this attack. So let's push through. Losses will probably be very light. I hope that that's correct. We've got other areas, of course, that we want to push for, and it looks like this is going to be the next one right here. Let's push in with the tank there. This is not a very strong unit, but we do have an engineer unit here that I think would be quite useful. And again, this time we're not going to hit that tank if we can help it. We're going to focus our attacks on that unit right there. Now, this time we might actually have to bring in some air support, I believe. I think they're going to have this area pretty well defended. Although, keep in mind that at the end of every turn, our Air Force goes ahead and does a sweep. I forget exactly how it works, but I'm pretty sure according to the manual, if you don't attack with your planes during that turn, then they cover 80% of their original targets, or I guess their original paths. But if you attack, I think they only cover 20 to 50%, something like that. It's been a while. In any case, we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did with the other unit, with the exception of one thing. I'm going to send in just one group over here of bombers to assist. And I'm hoping that just busting through the enemy's western flank here will be somewhat easy. At that point, we'll move towards Pek over here. Or is it Bech? What I'd like to also do is try and bring some remaining units, the units that we have stored over here in Albania, and actually bring them to help the Kosovo rebels over here. So let's try and push these guys through. We'll move through the village of Jekai. One big issue, of course, fighting in Yugoslavia is just the amount of mountains. There are mountains all over the damn place, and that quite often can make it very, very difficult to actually reach any specific location. There we go. Enemy aircraft has attacked Falcon Force. Like I said, these Serbs have been given a bunch of planes and air support by the Russians, and because of that, we are also taking a lot of damage just from air support alone. So I will go ahead and attack with the rebels here. With the rebels, I feel like we need to offer them air support. They just don't have the combat experience to be able to move forward and attack without some bombers with them. As you can see, their chance of success is very poor. So I'm really going to have to dedicate quite a few bombers here to this attack to make it worthwhile. Sending in some German air there. More NATO German air. But I'm hoping at the very least we're going to go do serious damage to the troops on the ground. Since we're attacking 3 different points of this line, obviously one of my goals is just to bust the line apart. Now, one thing I was really worried about was over here, the enemy actually starting to push into Macedonia after we had done extremely well in this Macedonian theater. So we're going to have to push back. We pulled some of our men back, but I want to pull this guy back, I want to pull this tank back, and we're kind of forced to get into a defensive position. I'll also hit these units that attacked us on the east, but look at that stack, man. I don't think I've never seen a stack like that in any operational Art of War 4 game. So we're going to have to hit that thing with the remainder of our air units. Really just need to take a massive chunk out of that unit there. And the fact that they're stacked up there might bode well for us. We might be able to really decimate their forces. And again, you can't necessarily trust, especially when you're bringing in air support, you can't trust the ratio calculator there. In fact, I'm even going to bring in an additional unit right here. Trying to level things up as much as I can. I'd love to be able to move those guys as well because we could use these Macedonian forces to get behind them here. But I think so far it's looking okay in terms of our approach. We also want to get rid of any enemy units still in Bosnia here. And this is absolutely our opportunity. So let's try to surround this guy. That's right, we attacked this guy last turn. We're going to have to wait a bit, then ultimately surround him. And just make sure that he doesn't get behind our lines. Because that can turn into a bit of a nightmare. Disembark. And actually, I think we can probably still take him out here. Likelihood of success is very poor. Nope, we're going to have to hold on a bit. Definitely need to bring in reinforcements before we go for the Uzuce Brigade. Guess the Uzuce Brigade is a pretty vicious one because it's warning us not to even attempt this attack. Now, as you can see, one of our units is actually trapped behind enemy lines here. We cannot allow that, guys. So let's push forward. But it looks like there's mostly an enemy infantry unit right there. And I want to see if we can hit that infantry unit and maybe, just maybe, force the enemy to retreat. I think we need to be pretty aggressive here if we want any chance of breaking through. Again, I'm not entirely trusting what the game says here. I'd even like to bring in some additional armor, but I'll settle for just trying to cut the enemy off. So as you can see, we can absolutely cut them off there. And sure enough, we just forced one of the armored artillery units back. I hope this is going to get them to think twice. But keep in mind, we still don't want them to overrun us here, so let me just have a single unit move over here. And let's plan an attack on these mechanized Serb units. Chance of attack is very poor. Again, it looks like in this northwestern area, we need to be very careful. We're just going to kind of wait, because it's not going to go in our favor, not unless we get some reinforcements. So one way to make sure that the enemy does not get behind us, guys, as you can see, I moved in an actual air unit right here. Eagle Force attack helicopters. We're going to go for a bridge attack. There's only an 18% chance that we actually destroy this thing, but I think it's very important to try to blow that bridge to smithereens, just to make sure the enemy can't flank us in any way. Again, it's sort of a low, or high risk, I guess high risk, high reward situation, but very high risk. We'll move a few more of these units in. We will disembark with some of these air units and just basically get these guys out on the ground to stop any sort of attack. But I think that's about all we can do this turn. Let's end the turn and see how these attacks actually go for us. Alright, bridge attack bombardment over. Equipment and personnel losses -3. Bridge not destroyed. Gotta try again. Now that's our attack over here on the west against the massed infantry, and it looks like we may have actually forced them back. Done a pretty good job here. We lost about 5% of our attackers, which obviously isn't great. Destroyed an 81mm mortar, but the enemy also lost quite a lot. We certainly came out the lesser in that attack, and again, committing our air forces to that attack was not the correct approach. We're doing a lot better here. enough, we've also taken this river tile, which I think is going to be a big deal. Only 2% personnel losses here. Now, these are the attacks that are more like it. This is exactly what we should be going for. And as you could see, taking out those spags, I feel like they don't even really have many spags left. We've also been decimating all of their light armored trucks, and even taking a few 100mm guns out. Getting the AT squads is always a good thing as well, but let's take a look at our side. And as you can see, we didn't come through here without some losses. In fact, losing a CEV and a Bradley. Not a good thing, necessarily. Over here, we had heavy enemy anti-tank defenses. But we're getting very, very close to the city of Danica. And as you can see, Yugoslav personnel losses 16%, guys. Unbelievable. Engaged. Now, that is weird, because it's showing 16%, but no actual losses on the screen. Maybe that's surrendered units, or maybe they just completely evaporated. And incredibly, it looks like even our KLA rebels managed to bust through here, guys. Killed a number of Serbs. These guys, more than any, well, maybe except for the Bosnians, desperately want some vengeance. And you can see they're absolutely taking it out on the enemy, getting rid of some of those MP SAM rocket systems, many of those responsible for taking out our planes. So an excellent job, and actually in this operation, we only lost one Falcon in terms of our air wing. Still, I don't want to risk the air wing, because look at the Lynxes. We're losing choppers left and right. We can't allow that. Macedonians pushing on the south towards Uroševac. They've already done an amazing job before. I know they can do it again, and look at that, guys. 38% of the enemy army here. Let's take a look. Really devastating. BDRMs destroyed, SPAGs destroyed, MP SAMs. We destroyed 5 of their wheeled 37mm SPAGs. And if we take a look here at the Macedonian forces, their bravery knows no bounds. They are absolutely vicious here. Certainly losing some AT squads, but even military police squads are assisting in this attack to make sure that they recapture Uroševac as soon as possible. This is the Macedonian front that we're very concerned with. We dedicated fighters to it, air support to it, just because of how dangerous it is to have the enemy this close. Not bad. Still not that confident. It's only 22% of the enemy forces. And you can see they attacked with a large, and I mean a very large group of assault AT squads. So I think they're trying to hit us with everything here. You can almost tell with those ZSUs, all these SPAGs. But without a doubt, we did a ton of damage here. Just a tremendous amount. What about the Macedonian attackers? Not terribly bad. Lost a Leopard, never a good thing. It certainly looks like the equipment we're losing is much more expensive than the equipment the enemy is losing. Interestingly enough here, we still have 40% of our turn. We might be able to do a few things here. First of all, I love that our tank is broken through here near Moshkovic. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And we've kind of got these guys surrounded now. The question is, can we capitalize on this? So I'm going to try to capitalize on this. And it looks like our success is actually not too bad. We're even going to be moving in with our Eagle Force squads. And again, when you attack twice with bombers in one turn, they're not nearly as effective. And again, I said I didn't want to risk these bombers again, so I'll just send one group in. But we want to win this because there's an enemy HQ right there, a mech HQ. And obviously taking a Serb general prisoner, I think would do very well for us, not just in terms of getting information about the enemy, but it would be a huge media success. So we're going to call in that attack. Hopefully, since the enemy's a bit trapped there, they won't know really how to react. It also looks like we could do the same with the Serbs right here. Unfortunately, this area is extremely mountainous, so just getting through is a bit of a challenge. We might have to just kind of power through here. No, not going to happen. Way too dangerous. I think we could still trap him, though. Again, as long as those Serb units get themselves nice and trapped, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, but we will have to dedicate some air units. And again, the success here doesn't look great. But hopefully with that air support, it will be a little bit better off for us. Yeah, this is a very aggressive turn, I'm not going to lie, but I like being aggressive here. So far, so good. In fact, we're going to continue this attack. It went so well that I am going to keep it going and see if we can't maximize on those Serb casualties. Although, as you can see, not everything that glitters is gold. I'm holding off on that attack. It just simply wouldn't go well. The men are tired, just period. They are tired, so I'm not going to mess around with it. I'm just going to try to extend the front a bit. Obviously make us not as much of a target. Now, over here with our rebel friends, I do think we can capitalize because they are all over the place. So let's take those KLA fighters, as well as all this NATO support. Now, despite me going through with this attack, I'm not going to lie, I think it's still going to be a pretty ruthless attack. But we are not going to dedicate any air support to it, and because of that, it's only going to be fair. So I'm thinking, despite not wanting to dedicate air support, I might have to. What I will dedicate is some of the air missile support, and maybe we'll get just one NATO air wing. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below about using support like this. Is it the right thing to do, or should we be a little more conservative in our approach? I'll let you guys decide. I think right now it's working because if we can break this initial, you know, Serb defensive line, we're going to be a lot better off. I really mean that. I also want to make sure that we've completely removed the threat from over here. Let's see if there's anything we can do. No, they're way too strong. No way. Alright, guys, I'm going to call it there. Let's end the turn. I think these guys are definitely finished. The Serbs in the Bosnia region are definitely going to be finished. Still some air support from the enemy, but yeah, 35% of the enemy army destroyed, and despite looking like a pretty small force, man, they've got a lot here. Finally, we took out some of their air units, in this case, G4 Super Galibs. So we're starting to see the kind of air units they're using here, as well as MiG-29s that they're getting from their Russian friends. Put your arms down. We are NATO forces. We wish you no harm, unless you fire at us, in which case, you're dead. 93% of the enemy forces destroyed, guys. We completely eliminated that group with consistent attacks. I wonder, though, is that the group with the HQ? I'm not sure. And finally, no losses at all with the air support. So there, I think the air support was absolutely useful. Here's the Kosovo front. I know we're in Albania, but this is where the Kosovo fighters, which is in the southeast of the Balkans, are fighting currently. Not too bad. Again, those KLA fighters really want some vengeance, even managing to take out a tremendous amount of enemy recoilless rifles and a lot of enemy artillery. That's going to be very helpful on the ground. But how did they do? And actually, they did pretty well. Usually the Kosovo fighters take a nasty, nasty hit, but they didn't take many losses at all over here. Okay, guys, time for the Yugoslavs to attack. What's going to happen? Only time will tell. Just hoping they don't continue that push in Macedonia. Here we go, guys. Serb turn. I keep saying Serb turn. I know it's Yugoslavia, but the only other state within Yugoslavia that actually joined them... actually, we need to take a look. I think it was Montenegro joined them, and that's the only one. So, the Serbs are on their own in this fight. You need that air support non-stop. Places like Belgrade and Dobanovo, they just have so many men. But I really want the air support to focus on these frontline regions, if at all possible. Yeah, they didn't hurt any of our Kiowas. They tried to take them out on the ground. Got very lucky. And they did manage to take out one of our B-52 Strato fortresses on the airbase, guys. So it just goes to show you how dangerous this Russian air support that they're getting can be. Thankfully, in this case, it looks like their plan backfired. They lost a couple 130mm guns. Gotta love that return fire. No losses on either side there. I mean, as you can see, it doesn't always lead to a loss, but it certainly leads to a morale loss no matter what happens. Right there, losing one of our Gazelles due to the air attack. And what they're doing is just essentially hitting us on the ground. Now, the question is, will they try any counterattacks with their military forces, or have they had enough? Trying to hit that tank that actually flanked the enemy. Kasinche, they've missed all the Macedonian units there. So far, their air support has not been very effective. Over here, they did hit a HIMARS, I don't even know what this is, 227mm SPMRL, as well as an AT squad. The unlucky recipients of that bomb. But for the most part, we're doing okay here with the enemy air attacks. Now, I'm thinking for next turn, we don't call in any air support during any battles unless absolutely necessary, because that will make our air attacks the subsequent turn a little bit stronger, and we can do even more damage, of course, to the Serbs on the ground. Alright, personnel losses on both sides here. So we lost 2 Hornets, Tomcat, huge losses. Evidently, the enemy lost, my goodness, 11 MiG-21s, guys. So they're doing almost suicidal attacks now out on all the way in the Adriatic. And I think this is almost just like a show of force, just to show us that they are willing to go all the way to the Adriatic just to attack us. Hold on, Macedonia, hold on. They're acting like cowards right now. They're firing at us, but where are the attacks? Come on. Let's see some attacks. There we go. Nope, still just standard bombardment, although that one was pretty damn effective, as you could see. 2% losses, so they're getting like 2 to 4% when they get a successful hit. And here we go. Now our air support can come in and do a little bit of handiwork on the enemy, get a little bit of vengeance for those strikes. And they don't give a damn. They'll hit them in the cities, on the roads. If they spot a target of opportunity, it doesn't matter if it's in an urban area. It's open season. Incredible, guys. So the enemy did not push there at all. That's really interesting. I guess they just decided, you know, let's not push, let's not try to attack, because last time they did that, they lost quite a lot of men. But let's take a look here. Russia deploys additional airborne units to Serbia. This is exactly what I was talking to you guys about. Russia commits air units to the defense of Yugoslavia. I told you. President Yeltsin promises Russian support for Serbia. So now we are at war with Boris Yeltsin and with Russia as well as Yugoslavia. But it's a bit of a proxy war because, again, we're only engaging in this area. Fascinating stuff, guys. I hope you're enjoying so far. And if you are, just please keep hitting that like, commenting, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.